Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to the first TezTalks Live of 2023. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Brian David Marshall, founder and chief creative officer at Interpop. Interpop, for those who might not know, is a Tezos powered digital publishing, minting, and creative platform redefining fandom through digital collectibles and experiences. The Interpop team is currently working through the final stages of the public release of the digital trading card game Emergence, which is a Tezos-backed blockchain gaming project we at Tezos Commons have been keeping a very close eye on. On today's stream, we'll be giving away a trio of limited edition Interpop digital comic books and a Tezos-branded nano ledger to two of our lucky viewers. If you'd like one of those lucky viewers to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Brian that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time. We'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Brian. How are things in the city that never sleeps?
Well, technically, I'm in the city that sleeps next to the city that never sleeps in New Jersey.
Okay.
But things are good. Things are have been getting back to life, and but Culverton, which is where the Emergent universe set up, things are a little more harrowing. We've got schism coming, and that's going to be bad news for our heroes.
Okay. To get us started, can you give us an update on the ongoing rollout of Emergence and how things are progressing, aside from the schism being on the radar?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the last time we talked, Stu, we were going into what we were calling our public beta. So people can get in. You can go right now to emergencetcg.com and just download the game and start playing. With all the cards available to play with for free. But we are, really in February going to be fully deploying our game economy. We're going to be going to a live ops game with cards for sale on a regular basis. The bonding curve, model, which is something that that is really unique to our game, and really excited about that, and the ability for people to unlock cosmetics and level up their cards through play experience, which they can then take to the secondary market. So February is a big day. Is a big month for us. We're going to have everything live and functioning, big marketing push, all that stuff. So it's been a long time coming, Stu. It's really challenging to build a game of this scope and depth and all that, but we're the team that is here and working on it, and the support within the Tezos ecosystem, and from the principles within the Tezos world has just been phenomenal, and I'm super proud of what we're putting out into the world in February.
Well, before we get into all that, can you clear up what you mean when you say bonding curve?
Sure. So we're going to be selling cards. Right. And, really, even any free to play game, ultimately, people are selling cards. Right. Whether you're buying gems or gold or doing something, and then you redeem that for a card, that's how that all works. So we're going to have a free pool of cards that people can play with that, will be available, and you can have an experience, and you can figure out if you like the game, learn how to play, figure out what strategies you want to explore. And then we're going to have cards that get released on a almost daily basis. Basically, we're bypassing the booster pack model for our game. And we're going directly to you walk into a game store and there's cards in the showcase, in the physical world, you go into a game store and you're like, oh, I want that card for my deck. So when you buy a card, there's a pricing curve, and every card that gets purchased, the price inches up a little bit.
Okay.
And every card that gets sold back, and that's kind of an important piece of this, the card inches down a little bit. And it's really kind of an exciting new model, and we haven't seen it before in gaming. It's brainchild of Zoom Moshowitz, who's Hall of Fame Magic the Gathering player, brilliant economist, great game designer, and person I've been with on this journey since the beginning of the process.
Very cool. You mentioned Emergence transitioning, like the public beta is live, and it's moving into a version that people can really start to get involved with. And I'm curious, for people who are curious about the game, like what can they expect to see in the weeks ahead aside from the cards being on sale on a daily basis?
Well, I would say right now, if you're interested in the game, get in there right now and start learning how to play, so you can really understand what cards you're going to want when we um, move to a model where we're selling cards on a regular basis. But really, what you're looking at is do you remember Stu? I don't know how old you are. Do you remember a game like ads for a game called Othello?
I do remember
Remember, it
Othello,
was
yeah.
like simple to learn, a
Yeah.
lifetime to master, right?
Yeah.
That's hopefully what we've built here, right? This game that you can pick up pretty easily. We've got some great tutorials in the game right now. You can sort of walk through and learn how to play. But this is a game that has a lot of depth. It's a great deep strategy trading card game. So if you've ever played, Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone or Flesh and Blood and in any of those kind of games, this is at that level of strategic depth and constant reinvention through the introduction of new cards into the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what's really unique is because we're releasing cards on this like almost daily basis, the game is constantly incrementally evolving, as opposed to, hey, here's a new set, we're dumping 150 cards into the metagame today and go right?
Figure it out.
Yeah, it's constantly inching along, which is
Okay.
really exciting and pretty revolutionary.
And you mentioned that there's an economy attached to that process where I guess the cards that are more in demand over time, their prices will increase, while those that are in less demand, their prices will decrease.
Yeah.
Which I think is extremely interesting. Now, I imagine the transition that you're talking about that's taking place right now, you actually mentioned it before, that there's a significant marketing effort that's going to come along with that. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit about how the Interpop team will be building on the interest that you've managed to generate up to this point.
Well, you know what? We're just going out for a full-fledged marketing effort. Everything from traditional UA, user acquisition, marketing on social media, and anything you would see where people are trying to get people to come into a game. We're going to be pursuing all of those opportunities. We're going to be working with influencers and streamers to talk about the game. We're going to be putting organized play programs into effect to have people sort of demonstrate some of the depths of strategy and skill that lays within the game, and some of the really cool features of the game.
So through that process, you think the general public is going to begin to hear the name Emergence more frequently?
We're to this point, we have largely just spoken to the Tezos cohort of people about this game, right? And really relied on this great support within the ecosystem to help us test the game and really kick the tires and make sure we're not doing anything too crazy with our card file and all that fun stuff. And we've aimed everything that we've done to this point at that cohort. But in February, when it's a fully operational Death Star, right? We're aiming at comic book fans. We're aiming at trading card game fans. We are, look, we've built a great game. We think it's a better mousetrap, so to speak, and we want to show it off to as many people as possible. Our intention has never been to, and I Stu, I'm gonna you get a buzzer for when I recycle lines that we've used before, I hope. But our goal has never been to build the next great crypto game or the next great blockchain game. It has been to build a great game that takes advantage of the unique qualities of the Tezos ecosystem that really lets us do all the things that we want to do and need to do to make the game that we want to play.
Yeah.
As gamers, right? We all come from, my team all comes from a gaming background, and we've all, looked to build the game that we want to experience.
For sure. And as far as attracting attracting new users. If we're talking about people who maybe don't particularly have an interest in crypto or wanting to participate in a blockchain ecosystem, but they want to play the game, and through the process of getting involved with the game and experiencing it, they get an introduction to crypto, to blockchain, and especially to Tezos. Obviously, from our perspective, like that can't help but be a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But also, if you just want to be, like when I play a card game, right, online, and I spend money on it, I don't really understand, all of their payment systems. I don't understand, all the different. I don't have to do that. I just know I put my credit card in, I buy some cards, and it works,
Yeah.
right? And so, really, we want that to be the base level experience for people coming in, right? You can come in if you have Tez, that's great. But you know what? If you don't, we'll make you a wallet when you sign up. We will. You can come in and you can pay with your credit card, and you can have this one way experience where you just play the game, spend some money on the game, and have these cards and never sell
Mm-hmm.
them, the same as you do in a free to play game. But you also have this opportunity, like, oh, I'm playing a lot, I've leveled this card up, I've unlocked all this cool art and chrome for this card, and someone who's coming new to the game might want, like, oh, I don't have that much time to put into the game. I'd like to, then you start to explore, that person can start to explore what it means to be building something, that we're building this in Tezos, and how to fully use their wallet, and start to go out, bleed out, color outside of the borders of what we've built.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we want people to have a game experience, and what's amazing about where we've been building is that it's really allowed for that.
Mm-hmm. You touched on something there that I thought was quite interesting. Are you saying that through the process of, like, once I have a card, through the process of playing the game and participating in the game, that those cards will change in terms
So
of their?
so
Go ahead.
yes, I'm sorry. My resolution in 2023 is to not interrupt people, and it's over. So now I can pick up all my other bad habits again too, right? So, um, we're not giving you, it's not unlocking power on the card. The cards are what they are. They do what they do, but um, there are various quests that get written to the card after each time you're using them, that unlocks cosmetic features, so
Mm-hmm.
logos, card frames, and most importantly, alternate art.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are going to be people who have a card like Absolute Zeroth, and they're going to have this unique piece of art that is fairly time intensive to get
Yeah.
to. And someone might say, wow, I love this game, I'm playing it, but you know what, I want that one.
Yeah.
And so they can go to object.com, they can go to Rarible, they can list the card and put it up for auction, put it up for sale, do whatever they want to do with it.
That's very interesting. I think that's a fantastic idea. As a person who collects cards in his personal life, like those variants, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
And definitely as the collectability increases, those are the types of thing that people want, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting way to incentivize people to participate. Now, as far as, like, you mentioned that the marketing push has largely been within the Tezos ecosystem and with people that you're already connected with. Um, what's the interest level been like so far in what you're doing with the people that you have marketed to, and moreover, like, how have the overall market conditions that have been taking place in the space affected the way that people are participating in the rollout?
Well, uh, I think there's two things that people look for in a game when you talk about Web3, when you talk about blockchain, right? And so we're in a bear market, right? And so, like, the idea of, like, these chasing things down and getting high price collectibles is is something that is certainly not I don't know, not been the focus of what we've been doing really. And so but we've gotten a lot of people in the door. We've gotten a lot of people playing the game. And this sort of dedicated core of people have been essential to the growth of the game, right? We have a Discord community that is very active and is helping us QA the game and talks about the game and gives us feedback and tells us when we've sort of veered off the path in any way. And so that's been phenomenal for us. I had a great experience too. I went to a tournament in Las Vegas late last year, and I had multiple people come up to me who were like talking to me about the Emergence game.
Wow, that is cool.
They were in the public beta. They were playing the game. They were like, oh, I'm this person on Discord, and just super exciting to see people who've been invested in the success of the game. And now that we're getting to this point where we're able to fully deploy the economy and do the live ops of getting people into a game, I couldn't be more excited to have those people there also to serve as ambassadors and help shape people's experiences moving forward. It's a great group of people who've come in so far.
Yeah. When we were chatting a couple days ago, I mentioned to you that I have heard of this phenomenon with games, NFT based games where there's these digital collectibles involved, where during the rollout there are people who buy them purely speculatively to sit on them. They're not participating, and that I've been told that at times that can hold the process back a bit. So I'm wondering if, given the current market conditions and as you say, the bit of a bear market that's going on, I'm wondering if, that might actually work in your favor in some ways.
Well, again, we are, we're going to give people who come into to play the game an experience to play with. That'll still be this free experience. There's a pool of cards that people just have access to and they can just play with, so they can just learn it. And even as people are buying cards and we're selling them, this isn't something where you're selling this one of a kind $10,000 card, right? Again, the price changes on the bonding curve are pretty incremental. And also, what we're going to do is, if you go to a store and you play in a Star Wars CCG tournament, right? And you go and you need 2 cards for your deck. Right. And you're like, I really need 2 cards for my deck. The metagame is this. And if I don't have them, I'm going to be a hose. And so you go to the store, you buy the cards out of the showcase, you put them in your deck, you play. And at the end of the tournament, you're like, well, I needed them for this event.
Yeah.
Or, wow, those cards were not as good as I thought they were in the current metagame, or they didn't work the way I thought. You can go and sell those cards back to the store. Now that store might buy those back from you at like 25% or 33% or 50% of what you paid for it, right? But you have some ability to claw back some money. One of the things that we have in our bonding curve contract is we will, for a large percentage of that original sale price, buy that card back from you. And so, this does not apply to promo cards that have been released thus far. This relies to cards sold on the bonding curve, and it doesn't acknowledge any of the chrome that's put into any of the cards, right?
Okay.
So, if you're chroming up the card, that's your responsibility to figure out how to, turn that card over to someone else and figure out the market will determine what that is. But if you buy a card and you need it, almost like renting a card, right? You can do that. But if you also just like, wow, this, one of the things that always frustrates me in a free to play game is, you invest resources in a deck or in cards, and the card's like, oh yeah, no, that's not as cool as I thought. That's not as interesting as I thought. And you have no way to recoup those resources. You can only put in more resources. So one of the things that we're going to allow people to do is, there'll still be some cost involved there, but to get the bulk of their money back for that card. and really what we want to do is also we've built this really deep game with 5 different factions and all these different abilities. We want people to move around and explore, and
Yeah.
we want those bonding curve prices to be going up and down because people are bouncing all over the place and trying out all the cool cards we built.
Yeah.
And we think that this model really fosters that kind of experimentation and exploration.
Well, and as we've seen with other games like new decks and new strategies, a card that's useless today might be the most in demand one in the world tomorrow, right?
Right, right. And again, because of that, the way the release schedule is set up for these cards, um, cards will have this introducing new cards into the metagame will have this cascading effect on other previously released cards, right? Making them better or worse based on their mechanics.
100%. Great stuff so far. I'm excited to learn more. Before we dive a little bit deeper here, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round? I don't think we were doing that the last time you appeared on here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Just before we do that, I'll announce today's keyword for the limited edition digital comics and the Tezos branded nano ledger that we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !Interpop. Enter the keyword !Interpop in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winners, who will announce before the end of the stream. Before we move on, can you give us specifics on the comics that you're giving away today?
Absolutely. We're going to be giving away 3 to one person. We'll be giving away 3 limited edition Joe Prado alternate art covers for the 9 season 2. So we're going to be giving away the 9 number 1, the 9 number 2, and the 9 number 3. Each of those covers is by Joe Prado. They're variant covers. There's only 9 of each comic minted, and when you combine the 3 pieces of art, it's a triptych. So you and having those 3 comics in your wallet will unlock a special piece of combined digital art that'll be there'll never be more than 9 of, and given the way those might get distributed, there might not even be 9, right?
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, now it's lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers, and this is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better.
Can I try to get wrong answers?
Please do. Yes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Beaches or mountains?
Beaches. Very specific beaches at very specific times of the year and very specific times of the day, but beaches.
Lightning round, Brian. Lightning.
I am not capable of lightning.
Pizza or sushi?
Pizza, but I love sushi. Someone said pizza sushi to me, and I now ban them from my life.
I don't think I could handle that. Movies or video games?
Movies.
Is this real life, or are we in a simulation?
This is not a lightning round question. Look, this is real life to me. So, right? So even if we're in a simulation, it's real life.
Okay. True or false? Money buys happiness.
Nah, false. You can rent it.
Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
Have my 100th birthday.
That is ambitious. The last place you traveled was?
Las Vegas.
In 5 words or less, how would your best friend describe you?
Always there for me.
Wow. And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day? Besides play Emergence, of course.
I really just like watch movies or binge old TV shows.
Awesome. Excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Obviously, at some stage in the journey toward building Interpop and the Emergence TCG, your team made a decision to sort of realize your vision here in the Tezos ecosystem. In your view, what makes Tezos the right blockchain and ecosystem for building a project like this?
Sure. That's a great question. I mean, so really, Tezos to me was the first ecosystem that really had this like vision for games. And really goes back to my first experience. Zvi and I were talking about building a trading card game. We were both talking about building trading card games kind of at the same time. And we got connected to Kathleen Brightman, who really saw this vision of, at a time when nobody was talking about blockchain gaming, really, right? She had this very, very clear vision of, this use case around a trading card game. And so really the vision and the tools and the sort of future proofness and cutting edgeness that's always, is cutting edgeness a word?
It is now.
It has always made this the inevitable correct place to be building something like this, and the same way I think 2022 was like this year, last 18 months, where this period for digital art in the Tezos ecosystem. I think we've arrived at, and hopefully we're at the forefront of this Tezos gaming explosion.
It was a very interesting year on that front for this ecosystem, for sure. And I understand you've recently announced or maybe you haven't announced it, but you've recently worked out a collaboration with the team at Blockborn, who we've also recently spoken to here on TezTalks Live.
Okay.
What can you tell us about that partnership and what it will mean for the Emergence community moving forward?
Sure. I mean, one of the things two of the things we're super excited about for Emergence over this coming 11 months in 2023 is getting people streaming the game, right, and talking about the game and showing off the game and introducing the game, and having tournaments, right, and having people playing the game and really showing off the deep strategy and some of the wild swings and the cool features like the turn structure and the wild carding system and all of these cool things that we built into the game, and getting them showcased. And Blockborn is just an amazing partner for doing all of those things. And I have a really cool bet with Will Pazos from Blockborn. So he's going to put together a team of Blockborners.
Okay.
And I'm going to put together a team of Interpoppers. And we are going to have them do battle. And should Will's team win, he gets to pie me in the face. and vice versa. So really excited. And look, nobody wants to get hit in the face with a pie, right? So it has driven our team to, you can take things for granted sometimes when you're building, you're so heads down, so they're really training hard. And I also know that Will's team is really learning the ins and outs of the game. I
feel invested now. I want to know what's going to happen here. That's amazing. In the time that you've been doing the sort of the closed beta and the public beta and had people experimenting with the game, have there been any significant changes that you've needed to make based on the feedback you've gotten in those stages?
When you're building a digital game, every change ends up being pretty significant.
Of course.
It's interesting. The game has remained at its core pretty close to the game that was initially just designed by Zvi and I, working in his home office and brainstorming about how we can make a great trading card game. But how we get there is constantly changing. What's been, one of the biggest things that happens when you play a game is that first time user experience, right? And having people come into your game and learn how to play and navigate, and so we're constantly making changes and adjustments to that based on people's feedback. Like if you haven't played the game and you go and you download it and you walk through it, it will be better than it was 3 months ago. But also in just a couple weeks it'll be even better, and you can be giving us feedback that will help in the Discord. um so yeah, it's constant um feedback. Certainly the card file has changed quite a bit based on player feedback, right? Like we've learned a lot about what's way too good, what's not, what's a little too weak, weaker than maybe we thought it was initially. And that's one of the great things about the free card set, is we get to let people play with cards maybe
Mm-hmm.
before they will go on sale later, as we can cycle cards through there for people to um, really kick the tires on them.
Cool.
So yeah, lots of player feedback has been incorporated in like so many ways, all the way around every aspect of the game.
That's excellent. Now, you a few moments ago you touched on sort of the earliest stage of this project, where you sort of had this concept. You had a conversation with Kathleen Brightman, who you felt like she understood, she got it on some level. Now that you've spent some time, like a significant amount of time, building out a Tezos powered gaming project, what are your impressions of the gaming potential of this space?
It's uh really, I think this is, if you're building a game, this is where you want to be in the coming year. um we're doing all these really cool things. So I talked a little bit about that idea that we have all these quests, so we're constantly writing to the metadata of the cards based on all these experiences. It's a lot of on-chain activity, right? And there are some ecosystems that just could never support that, right? It would just be prohibitive financially to have that much activity. Like
Yeah.
certainly it would become prohibitive for us to do that. So the low transaction costs, that again, when you're building a game, you are constantly, it's like traffic, right? We're going to constantly expand to however much road you give it. Add two more lanes, there's going to be
Yeah.
two more lanes of traffic, right? So the fact that the speed of the system, the speed of the network is constantly increasing, and increasing at such a rapid rate, is so exciting. And opens up so many more possibilities for the game and for other games coming in.
Mhm.
And we can't rave enough about Kukai. I mean, we work with Kukai and we work with Beacon Wallets, but Kukai has really been a partner with us in terms of building this game and building that experience. Um, and so that just the entire ecosystem is so innovative and exciting. And it's an amazing place to be building a game right now, and I just don't think we could build the game we've built anywhere else.
That's a heck of an answer. Now, you mentioned Kukai being willing to work with you, and some other forms of support that you've had. But in general, what do you think the Tezos ecosystem does well in terms of supporting projects like yours, aside from transaction speed?
Well, I mean, there are so many opportunities to just spin up projects in the Tezos ecosystem. Over the past year, seen a lot of people coming in and get started. But I think the key is really how I mean, for me, Kukai is a huge part of, like, if you are looking to build a project and you're looking to have people come into your project who are not blockchain people, right? And
Mm,
and look, I know that within blockchain, sometimes people can get very hunkered down, right? And like, this is our space, and and people are rightfully proud of the world that they've created. But we need millions, if not billions, of people to come into this space
yeah.
for it to be the revolution in terms of how people play games and how people own their music, actually own their music, and actually own their digital art, and actually own digital comic books. And so we need people coming in. And something like Kukai is just such a smooth experience that someone who is not familiar with blockchain can use, can keep secure, and can easily go get pulled deeper into it if they want. And if they don't want, they can, still have those kind of like almost more traditional Web 2 experiences, without having to go fully into all the cool aspects. But I expect that as we get people in, you're gonna see people baking and DeFiing and doing all of that cool stuff. But it won't be everybody, and that's what's important to know. And and I think the tools that have been built in the Tezos ecosystem are just phenomenal for that.
Absolutely.
You can go deep, but you can also get in and not feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I mean, opening that door a tiny bit, right? That's the barrier where people are like, I remember early on in my journey into this technology where people kept saying like, all you got to do is get a wallet and go buy this and you're in the game. And I would start to get a wallet and it would be too complicated and I would go, I don't want to do this today.
Sure.
And then 3 months later, I realized I would have made $5,000 if I'd done it. And then I try it again and I go, right? So the getting that door nudged open a little bit and just getting people to experience what this world is like and what these transactions feel like and how this stuff actually operates. I think people realize that a lot of that hesitation, a lot of that fear, once you take the plunge, it's like, it's not that complicated. I need to learn a few little operations, and the rest of it, once I understand the basics, the rest of it just kind of opens itself up, right? A couple other things I want to get to where I realize we're running short of time here.
Sure.
When can we expect to see the first Emergence championship?
We are, people will be playing the game, buying cards in February. So, let's not put that on the calendar before March.
All right.
But really the first real championship is going to be when you see either me or Will Pazos with a pie in our face.
Fair enough. At this stage of the game,
sure,
having had a bunch of people mess around with the game a bit and try it out, what is the most sought after Emergence card right now? The one that everybody wants.
So absolute. So the thing about Emergence TCG is built in this lore of this superhero universe, and the first super powered characters in this universe are the Genesis Squadron, and that's the 5 characters that are sort of at the pinnacle of each of the 5 factions in the game. Professor Helios, Aloysius Zeroth, and his variant Absolute Zeroth, Moxie,
love that name,
Moxie, the Abyss, and Billy Stopless, and all of those cards are appropriately exciting and powerful, and I think those are all super sought after. There is a Billy Stopless promo card that's out there, and I think that's something that people will be chasing down. Once this game is fully deployed.
Okay. Are there any other exciting rollouts or announcements in the works that we can look forward to in the weeks ahead? Aside from pies in the face.
It's so funny, Stu, when you're building a game, just like getting to the point where we're at, right? Which is we're going to have this game live. We're going to have the economy fully deployed. We're going to be releasing cards on a regular schedule. We're going to be that's a lot of work ahead of us, right? We're not done. We're just at the starting block of running live ops on a game, and so really just kind of continuing to build out the community around the game, to build out the sort of streamers and influencers who are talking about the game, the marketing around the game, the tournament system around the game, and just continue. By the way, I don't know if people realize there's an Android build for the game that is if you go to the play.emergencetcg.com, you can just download an Android build of the game for your tablets or phones.
Oh, cool.
So getting that more polished and so there's still so much work. I mean, I think what you can look forward to us is just our heads down, building and supporting the people who come in to play this game.
For sure. And I don't mean to apply extra pressure on you. I was thinking about you yesterday and thinking about other successful trading card games and thinking like, how long did something like Magic the Gathering exist before everybody knew what it was? And I have no idea what the answer is.
I mean,
but it definitely happened.
Magic was a phenomenon pretty early on, but so it was released in 93, and then by 94 it exploded. But the game, they started building that game 2.5 years before it ever hit Gen Con. So yeah, it's a long process to build a game.
I remember I guess it would have been about 93 or 94, like Christmas morning. There was a deck. There was like a starter pack with the little counting things and in my stocking. And next thing I knew, I was hundreds of dollars deep, right?
Please tell me you still have all those cards, Stu.
I wish I could. I wish I could. It's depressing. I try not to think about it.
Well, you'll just have to get in on the ground floor of Emergence here.
I already have, as you know. We're almost at the end here. Before we close off, I'd like to announce the winners of the limited edition Interpop digital comics and the Tezos branded Nano Ledger we're giving away today. The winner of the digital comics is Normie HQ, and the winner of the Tezos branded Nano Ledger is OEO. Congratulations to both of you. To claim your prizes, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your shiny new Interpop comics and Nano Ledger over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you that there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream, so please keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you, good or bad. Brian, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the people building cool projects like Interpop and Emergence TCG here in the Tezos ecosystem and helping us stay at the front of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
I would like to challenge you, Stu, to a game in February, and we can figure out some appropriate wager as well.
Absolutely. I don't know. I suppose we could do a follow-up episode and where I guess we'd have to pie ourselves in the face.
Sure, we'll figure something out.
We won't be in the same place. I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Brian David Marshall, Chief Creative Officer and founder at Interpop. Now let's go participate in the Emergence public beta.